Okay, so I am ready to give the final part of my testimony, and I can't give it by myself. I just found this location, and I'm being set up by all of the citizens in Atlanta. And let me just go ahead and tell you what they're trying to hide. So they've been starving me, and I'm pregnant. God said for me to do a video about starvation in America. So this is my pregnant baby bump. Right now, my location is 500. Well, I'm on McDaniel Street in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm across from 500 building. I'm on McDaniel Street where the intersection is Fulton. And as soon as I just started, someone come out of here. It's Blood Gangs members all up and down the street. The security from this apartment complex, I had to charge my phone on the side of the building because Atlanta set it up for me to be outside with my phone dead. Of course, y'all see I've been making my videos at night out there by myself with my phone dead and seeing police and gangs bothering me. And the black women actually got them doing this shit and then keep coming around me trying to fucking listen. I had a black woman follow me this morning about this part of my testimony. So let me go ahead and give it because they out here trying to set me up and murder me with fucking Klansmen. So when I first got out of the jail, they dropped the charges on me August 22nd, 2019 for protecting myself and my little boy, Melbourne Halo Matter, from a white man. I was also pregnant while this white man was attacking me. So I'm going to have to put the camera close to me like this. Hopefully the audio is going to come through because they also have been cutting off the audio on some of my videos. But I pray to God that it does come through. So they charged me for protecting myself and I was pregnant, and they was in there trying to murder me before my trial. And all of the African Americans in the United States were aware, and I don't know what possessed them to like try to go along and think it was okay to let white people murder me pregnant for protecting myself and my child. Like, I was calling the police, but let me just go into the details of why they trying to stage to have me outside right now, because they had blacks doing a lot to me in my pregnancy since I've been out of the jail. So this is why they setting me up outside. So when they dropped the charges on me, I was in the Montgomery County Jail in Conroe, Texas. They kept me and tortured me in the jail past my labor date. They kept me for 10 months in the jail, and they did confirm that I was pregnant and let me out of the jail with the baby still alive inside of me, and let me out of the jail skinny with the baby still alive, and told me that I could not leave the premises by myself. A white female correctional guard and a Hispanic female correctional guard at the Montgomery County Jail in Conroe, Texas, in the booking said that I had to call somebody to come and get me in order for them to release me. They said it was for my safety. So because they were like, oh, what if somebody try to hurt you when you leave the premises of the jail? So I called my sister, Shakina Jones, and I asked Shakina if she would come and get me. Shakina was living in Texas, and Shakina said that she would come and get me, but she never showed. And I called my dad, Andrew Jones, and I asked Andrew Jones if he would come and get me. And Andrew, I think they making me want to move because it's a black woman right here, and she know that I'm telling on the whole entire country, and I don't feel comfortable with her being right here while I'm giving my testimony. So I think I need to get up and go to another bench so I can tell y'all what's going on without her being right here in my mouth, because this is ridiculous, and that's part of the setup for her. You know, you don't sit there and listen to no pregnant African American woman talking about she been hurt and abused and starved and she's pregnant and they gang raping her, and you just gonna sit there and try to listen because she want to listen to what I'm saying. So she's clapping because I got up. She came right there as soon as she seen me cut on my video, and that's somewhere where they can't tell me I can't sit. She came out of this building right here, right there across the street, and they all involved. And now they got me crossing the street, hurrying, trying to cross the street in the with gang members riding past on bikes and everything. And I'm not even supposed to be sitting in front of this leasing center. This is Mechanicsville Apartments. These ghetto ass people, man. And that's the only reason why she can't sit next to me at this bench. She can sit right there and act like she catching the bus. And another black lady just came with, she's a Bloods gang member. Bloods gang members, Crip gang member coming up on me because of the information that I'm about to give. And they don't need to be bothering me no more. I had enough. Me and my child have had enough of this torture. And for them to have did this, they should be man enough and woman enough to take the consequences. If you so big and bad, who did it? So I'm trying to get somewhere where I can quietly tell y'all this information, but they gonna keep on coming by and swarming around. So now y'all see these couple of benches right here. I'm about to sit down right here because you're not finna sit up in my face trying to listen. And you that's what they doing. And you trying to intimidate me while I'm giving my testimony, and then gonna start clapping when I got up and left. Okay, my business ain't got nothing to do with you. She came out there out of her house and sat right there to try to listen. No. So anyway, the white woman said that I had to call somebody to come and get me. I told y'all my family was involved, knowing that they were trying to murder me and not get me out, knowing I was innocent. So they're going to try to make a lot of noise, so I'm going to put the phone up right here if they come through making a lot of noise, because I want y'all to see me. They want my videos looking all distraught and ugly and hair all messed up. They just evil. But anyway, so I know they in trouble, period. I know they in trouble for what they did to me and my child inside of me, and it's still alive, so I don't appreciate this mess. So anyway, Father God, help me, Jesus, because they swarming around all in their cars trying to come past and make a lot of noise and say I'm in their neighborhood. No, they doing this on purpose. And Father God, help me, Jesus. So they said I needed somebody to come and get me from the jail. My family, everybody knew I was pregnant in there, and they all was in on covering it up and killing my baby, and starving me. So, Father God, that's the Crips gang member coming past me again. And I told you, they really not rivals. They all one big satanic gang. So my sister didn't show up, and there was a man named Blackjack named Sterling. They call him Blackjack in Montgomery County, Texas. Y'all can find him. Everybody knows Blackjack. Everybody knows Sterling in Montgomery County, Texas. So the city is called Montgomery County, Texas. Montgomery, Texas, sorry. The city is Montgomery, Texas. So they had a black man coming up there to visit me at the jail, trying to make it seem like he was my baby daddy, like he was the one I was pregnant by. I'm pregnant by my white baby daddy who was abusing me. His name is Austin Metter, and I have a little mulatto boy that's 4 years old with him, and they took him and said they was gonna kill him and rape him with the KKK because I shot a white man. So the information that they trying to stop me is what they had the gangs doing to me in my pregnancy since I've been out of the jail. So like I said, I got out August 22nd, 2019, and I called my dad, and I was like, Andrew, can you call Shakina and tell Shakina to come and pick me up, because they was talking about they would not release me if somebody didn't come pick me up. So my sister never showed, and then Andrew was like, oh, I'm not telling her what to do. I'm not calling her and telling her to come and get you. And I was like, okay, well, call the man Sterling and ask the man Sterling if he'll come and get me. And Sterling, Blackjack, was not picking up the phone. He knew that they was trying to poison me and the baby. He saw my stomach in the bed. Basically, everybody knew they was back there trying to kill a pregnant woman in the fucking jail, and that for protecting herself and her son. And they was doing it basically out of racism, just wanting to kiss up to whites. And so basically, I don't know why this information is so important, because I've been saying this over and over and over and over again, but I guess it must be somebody that's actually listening that can actually help me. So here, this is the blood coming past, making noise while I'm trying to give my testimony about my pregnancy. So basically, the man Blackjack didn't show up, and the white woman, they had me waiting up there for like 2-3 hours. So that was showing the state that her family wouldn't even come and get her. Her friends wouldn't even come and get her. We done told them that if y'all come pick her up, we'll let her go. And I'm thinking that they were just trying to get somebody to come and get me, but this was a setup. And so the white lady said, oh, well, she said, I think you'll be fine. Ain't nobody came and got her yet, so I'm going to just go ahead and let her go on her own. I'm going to just release her. She seemed like she'll be straight on her own. So they gave me some clothes that was not my clothes. They gave me like some crackhead-looking gray pants. They gave me some crackhead-looking clothes, not the clothes I came in. They didn't give me my cell phone, and they gave me my ID, Andrea Antoinette Jones. They gave me my identification. I was born December 21st, 1990. So they gave me my ID, and then as soon as I was like signing out and getting a piece of paper from the man at the front that I was released on all charges, they released me on the charges of, they've been dropped 2 charges, child negligence and dispersing a weapon in a public place. They dropped those charges, and then they had dropped the charges of child endangerment and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon because I was protecting myself and my son. So I got a piece of paper saying that they dropped, I already had paper saying they dropped the charges from my lawyer, but I got a paper from the facility saying they was releasing me on those charges as well. As soon as I was walking out the door, the man, Blackjack Sterling, came running inside of the little lobby area where I was walking out with my stuff, talking about, oh, you coming with me? You coming with me? You coming to my house with me? So I'm going to just make a long story short, and I'm going to tell you what their charges was that I know about, and then I'm going to tell you what they tried to do to me in their houses, because the Conroe police put him up to, the Montgomery County police put him up to trying to make me go with him when I left out of the jail, because they made me lose my apartment. And so when I got out the jail, I was gonna need somebody to let me come stay with them for a little while, or let some shelter let me come stay there for a little while to get back on my feet. So they had it set up to be doing stuff to me in my pregnancy, because I knew I was pregnant and that they had tortured me and I needed medical care. But I figured that if I got somewhere and was able to put out the evidence about my pregnancy, that I'd be okay. But no, they had already set it up. So God want me to go ahead and tell you. So Blackjack had an assault charge. Well, they said that he had a pedophile charge or something like that. But Blackjack Sterling brought me into a house and had mosquitoes eating me up inside the house with the door open, buckets of water in there. He tried to rape me inside of the home. He tried to beat me up inside of the home the first night, and he tried to give me pills. And he tried to get me to start doing drugs and stuff from like the very first day that I was released out of the jail. So I ended up getting me some clothes. I met with my sister. She gave me a little money and made me go with Blackjack. And he was the one who tried to make me have sex with him. And then he tried to make me pop pills. And then he started getting hostile and like violent. And I told him to drop me off. I was like, drop me off at this Fiesta over here in Conroe, Texas. And it was by the Salvation Army. So I could walk down to the Salvation Army and just go to the Salvation Army. And then so he was like, oh, what you leaving me for? He was like, you want me to call them people at that jail and tell them people to come get you? Knowing that he was acting like he was on my side when he was coming to visit me, and I told him they were trying to murder me and my baby in the jail, and that I was pregnant. They was denying me medical care. He said he had a cousin that was a DA, a black cousin that was a DA, and that's why the only reason why I was talking to him. And he said, your daddy said if you would have stopped telling them people that you was pregnant, they would have been let you up out of there. So then all of a sudden they was making it seem like it was my fault for being pregnant, and it was my fault for asking for medical care. And so I was just shut up, and then the Holy Spirit was like, don't argue with him. He just trying to provoke you. When he was like, oh, you want me to call them people and tell them people to come get you? And God was like, they dropped the charges on you. You know your rights. You innocent. You can tell this man to drop you off and be quiet. Don't argue with him, because he looking for a reason to try to harm you and that baby. And so he dropped me off, and then he tried to force me to get back in the car with him and everything. And I was like, no, I'm not getting back in the car with you. I was like, I'm not doing it. And then I walked off, and the Salvation Army was closed. So I ended up walking to this little Chevron, because I had went and got me some food stamps when I first got out, and they checked my record and was like, oh, ain't nothing even on your record. And I told them I had just got out of jail. My baby daddy was abusing me, and they was like, okay, that's sad. You know, God to make a way you get back on your feet. I didn't even know these women was all setting me up. So anyway, I took my food stamp card and went to the Chevron and bought me a whole bunch of food. And then I went and sat at the laundromat in Conroe, Texas, at this little washateria, and this man named Kiwi came up to me. And Kiwi has been charged for trying to rape his own sister. And the Conroe police and the Montgomery County police put him up to coming up to me too while I was out there when I first got out, because I was vulnerable and I was pregnant, and they did this to me. And so Kiwi was like, oh, you want me to ask my grandpa, can you come to my trailer with me? And then I was like, well, as long as you don't try to make me have sex with you or anything like that, I was like, I do need a place to stay. And then so he went to a black man named Reverend Stewart, who was his grandpa in Conroe, Texas, and Montgomery, Texas. And he asked Reverend Stewart, he was like, can Andrea, she's pregnant, she need help, can she come in? He was like, I want to try to be a daddy to your baby and all of that. And then I told him, well, they kind of tortured me in the jail and I need medical care. He was like, well, I'll do whatever I can to help you and that baby. And then so he had said, my grandpa said, you can hear they come by trying to make noise again, but I'm going to keep on doing this. My phone's on 6%. My God is with me. My God is with me. So I'm going to just put the phone closer to my mouth because this black man is over here at this apartment trying to talk loud over me and distract me. All right, he went in the house. So Kiwi said that it was okay. His grandpa said I can come to their trailer with them. So I went on to Reverend Stewart and his wife's property. They said it had like 5 trailers in Montgomery, Texas. And it was Kiwi there. Also, back at Blackjack House, his dad was there and this other black lady. And so everybody knew about the setup except me. So at Kiwi house, Reverend Stewart was there. Kiwi cousin Cat, Kiwi auntie Cookie, Kiwi cousin, the boy, I forgot his name. I think it's Deontay or something like that. And then Kiwi, rest of his family, and his Uncle Pug had just got out for murder. And so all of them was over there, and Kiwi started trying to get with me and touch on me and talk to me in the trailer. And the trailer was so nasty that it was unlivable. It had holes inside of the floor, and it had roaches and stuff all crawling up, like big old cockroaches and stuff. So Kat, Kiwi's cousin, said that I can come to Cookie, her mama house, that was right over in the same little area on the same lot. And then I was like, okay. So I went over to Cookie house, and I ended up showing Kat my stomach and telling Kat that I was pregnant because Kat was smoking cigarettes. So I wasn't smoking no cigarettes when I got out the jail until I went over there with Kat. And then when Kat was smoking cigarettes and I showed Kat my stomach, and Kat was like, oh, ain't no way that baby's still alive. She was like, oh, if you been pregnant by him this long and you ain't gave birth to the baby, she was like, oh, then that baby dead. She was like, that's a stone baby. And I assure you that the baby is alive still, even after everything that they done did. But let me just continue. So she went and got her mama and showed her mama my stomach. So Cookie looked at my stomach, and Cookie was like, oh my goodness. She was like, oh, ain't no way that baby's still alive. She was like, ain't no way that baby's still alive after all that time. And then she was like, that's a stone pregnancy. She was like, that baby dead. And then I was like, no, it's not, because I still felt the baby moving and everything. And then so after that, it kind of discouraged me. Like, Kat was smoking all them cigarettes, and Kiwi kept trying to have sex with me, and Kat kept trying to make me be his girlfriend, and I was too traumatized. And then I ended up asking Kat for one of the cigarettes, and I started smoking the cigarette. And I still didn't start back like smoking them that tough, but I just was like, okay, I've been through so much, let me just hit this cigarette a little bit, and then I'm gonna get me some medical care. And that was how it was. And then after that, like, Kat started trying to fight me and stage altercations with me. And Kiwi kept trying to fight me and stage altercations around me, talking about guns and, just stupid stuff. So I ended up going to stay at his auntie house and showing Kiwi auntie my belly. And then she was like, oh, that's afterbirth. She was like, ain't no way that baby's still alive. Ain't no way that baby's still alive. That's afterbirth in your belly. That's afterbirth in your belly. And she told me I could live there and made me give her my food stamps to live there. And then the next day she kicked me out with Reverend Stewart. And then Reverend Stewart, they said they kicked me out because Kiwi wouldn't let me stay there without wanting to be my man. And I told them I didn't want to be with him before I came over there. So then I went and stayed. They dropped me to go meet my sister Shakina in Channelview, Texas at a talk. Like, I went to meet my sister. Reverend Stewart took me, and Reverend Stewart was trying to get me to be trying to have sex with me on the way. Like, he like 70 years old. And then he was like, oh, will you have sex with me in the car? And I was like, no. And then so he was like, well, call me if you need anything. and he dropped me off with my sister, and my sister Shakina brought me in the house, and she had some food in there for her kids, and I had some food stamps, and I went and got some food, and my food stamp ended up cut off at Shakina's house, and I needed that food because I'm pregnant, and then all the food in her house was like old, and then she kept leaving and going and making meetings with people like Vanessa that knew that I was pregnant as well in the jail. And then I called Andrew Jones and Larissa. Well, I called my sister Larissa when I was at Cat and Cookie in them house. Sorry, let me run that back. And I told Larissa, I said, Larissa, they not giving me no medical care. They denied my pregnancy at Conroe Regional Hospital. I was like, they lying about my pregnancy. They lying. I said in the jail, and I sent Larissa pictures of my naked body from my cell phone, and Larissa was looking like, yeah, she pregnant. And then Larissa was like, you might have to leave the state and get on the bus and go to another state and get medical care. I was like, no, Larissa, because I know what God told me. I was like, Larissa, they not gonna confirm this baby nowhere in no state. I was like, I need y'all help, like, because I knew I would need the help of my family, for my family to come in there like, hell nah, look at her stomach, she's pregnant, y'all better give her some help. And I knew that God had showed me my family was in conspiracy to cover it up, and that I could not really trust them, and so they were gonna try to play both sides with me and act like they wasn't involved, which is what God showed me. So anyway, I called my dad, Larissa from Shakina house, and I asked my dad to send me some money so I can go and get an ultrasound from this Expectation Studio in Houston, Texas, because they was the only studio that did not require for me to have a physician and a doctor in order to get the ultrasound. And I knew that I was pregnant. I already had an ultrasound from a nurse in the jail, but they silenced her and still kept trying to kill the baby and lie about it. And she never came to my aid after what they tried to do to me. After she found out they were trying to kill me, I never heard anything from this nurse again. And then her name was Charge Nurse Michelle. And so I asked Larissa and Andrew if they'll send me the money to go and get the ultrasound. And at first Andrew was like, no. And then I was like, he was trying to act cool with me, but I said, you don't care about your grandchild. And then I said, I never want to talk to you again. And then I hung up the phone, and I meant what I said. I never want to talk to him again because I'm pregnant, and I needed the help from my family to come with me and make them give me the medical care. And then so I got a call. My sister Shakina was like, oh, Larissa or somebody gonna give you the money. It was only $40 at Expectation Studio to get the ultrasound. And then Shakina wanted to know, where is this place where you going to get the ultrasound? What's the name of it? My appointment was not for 2 days later, and I didn't want to tell Shakina because God had told me that my sister Shakina knew they were trying to murder me and knew that I was pregnant in the jail. And he was like, I couldn't trust her. And so I knew I couldn't trust to tell her where I was going to get the ultrasound because I knew they were going to set it up for them to lie about my ultrasound because they got more power than I do. And I'm just an African-American female that's poor and broke, and I shot a white man. And these is white women with money that run the whole country, and they got all this prestige, and they get everybody to lie for them for stuff. So I already knew they was not going to take my side at Expectation Studio and go up against the whole United States to tell the truth about my ultrasound. I already knew. And then so I went into Expectation Studio. I told Shakina where it was, and God said that they followed us to the ultrasound studio. That's what he told me recently. He said, since I got in Atlanta, God was like, they followed you to the ultrasound studio. So when I got to the ultrasound studio, the lady made me lay back and started crushing the tool into my belly, like, I don't see a baby, and crushing it real hard. And I told her, stop, because she was hurting it, and I knew what she was trying to do. And so I just got up and ran, hurry up and ran out of Expectation Studio, and I knew what she was trying to do. And then so she was saying she didn't see a baby, and then Shakina was like, what did they say? When I came out to the parking lot, and I looked at her and knowing she was wicked, and then I was like, they said I'm not pregnant, but I am, and they all know that I am. And so I went back to Shakina's house now with her talking about I need to get a job and I need to help her pay her rent, and she gonna kick me out of her house because she finna move somewhere. Because I started looking for a job. I only had my ID, and they said I needed my social and my birth certificate. So I had Shakina order my social and my birth certificate. I gave her the money to do it. I put groceries in her house when I got there. I was watching her kids for her, feeding her kids, and I was only there for a little while, like maybe a couple of weeks or whatever. And then she came to me saying that I needed to leave her home. She was, but a black man tried to rape me. I met him at Walmart. They was following me around the Walmart, and being that nobody would help me with my pregnancy, I thought that maybe if I let him be my friend, that he would look at my stomach and be able to tell, like, okay. And when I told him that he would help me, and so he had brought me somewhere and tried to rape me and slam me against the ground on my stomach, and I had to fend my way out of the house. And then I realized that I was being followed all by Shakina's home, and she made me walk miles to try to find a job. So I was walking miles all around her home by the Longhorn and everything to try to get work. And then she just came. I was laying down too and sleeping because I'm pregnant and I've been tortured, and I would be in the mirror trying to get myself together. And she was leaving me in the house with no food in the house, and I gave her money to go and get groceries, and she went and bought Chipotle for her kids and didn't put no groceries in the house. And then so I ended up having to get in touch with men on POF and ask them if they would give me money for food, and I didn't know that they all knew who I was that was coming to pick me up. So they was telling me that I had to sleep with them in order for them to give me the money for the food. And I was lying and telling them I need the money for something else. But then they was like telling me like they'll give it to me, and then when I come to get it, they were saying, oh, you gotta sleep with me, and I was starving. That's where it all started. That's where they started painting me out to be a prostitute. And I'm out here, my phone is dying on 5%. And it's much more. So my sister told me that I needed to get out of her home. Like, I didn't do nothing with the men at her home. It was only one or two guys I was talking to, and the man named Jakiba told me I could come and live with him around the time that my sister was telling me that I had to leave her home. And I was telling my sister that I wanted to visit my son. She was saying that because they said Judge Tracy set it up to try to make me have to pay them $300 per visit to see my son at a supervised facility. And my sister was saying that she would pay for the visit. So I told her, well, I'll pay my phone bill, I'll pay for my food, I'll pay for my birth certificate, I'll pay for anything else that I need, but can you pay for the visit that you said you would pay for? Then she was like, oh, I don't have the money right now. I'm buying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So I was like, okay, don't worry about it. And I didn't get to go to the visit for my son. So remember, I told y'all that Judge Tracy Gilbert set a trial hearing to give my son to Cynthia Olvera December 2019. So all this transferred from me going to Cookie House, Cat House, Kiwi from August 22nd to October. So it was only October, and I was already being kicked out of another person's house that knew that I was pregnant. So every time I said that I was pregnant, they'll hurry up and kick me up out of the house. And here comes some people acting loud. All here next to me is a black lady, and she have no reason to be coming over here trying to be loud around me while I'm giving my testimony. And she needs to stop. They need to stop this bullshit. Like, okay, stop this bullshit. Get the fuck away from me while I'm giving my testimony. Run, bitch. So, once I told Kevian, so they wanted them to bring me up in the house, basically starve me and kill the baby. Oh yeah, I had bought groceries with my food stamps before they took the rest of my food stamps over there by Kevian them house. And Cookie got mad because I came cooking pizza in her home. I didn't know that they had wanted me starved and not eating. I didn't know they didn't want people to know that they didn't want people to know that I was pregnant. So with me eating more, I was showing, because in the jail they would not give me no extra food, and I was completely starved. And so they kicked me out after I told them I was pregnant. And Kiwi auntie was like, oh, that's okay, they'll take you anywhere with that belly, ha. And she took my food stamps to tell me that if I lived there, I had to give her my food stamps. And so I needed somewhere to live, so I told her that she could use my food stamps or whatever. And so I didn't know that they were trying to keep me from having food and then gonna kick me out. So then she turned around and put me out on the street. Well, and like then Reverend Stewart knew I was pregnant, and then he did the same thing. So they just wanted people taking me in to try to starve me and try to fight me, and then or act like they didn't know and discredit me. So they had a custody hearing coming up, and I asked my sister, I said, why would you tell me to leave? So it was October, November, December, a couple of months before the custody hearing, which means I have a home, I have a job, I'm pregnant, being denied medical care, I'm with my family, I'm with my sister, give me back my son. And my sister was putting me out right before the custody hearing. And God said that Shekinah came to my apartment and saw me and my son living good at my apartment, and next thing you know, he was like, my baby was gone. And I was like, what? And he showed it as if my sister stole my baby with this witch. And I was like, how? And then that's why God want me to tell my testimony, and it's all coming together for me as a trauma victim. I know that people fucked me over, and now it's coming together. So my sister had said that I had to leave right before the custody hearing. If she would have let me stay at her house and told the truth about my pregnancy, I asked my sister to feel my stomach, to feel the baby moving when I was at her house, and she put her hand right there and hurried up and said she didn't feel nothing. God had showed my stomach and my t-shirt, and you could see the baby just doing like this, and God said she could see the baby moving if she wanted to. God said she didn't want to see it, she didn't want to confirm it, she didn't want to be the one to say, I know that my sister is pregnant, and then hurried up and put me up out of her house. So God was like, if she would have just told the truth and looked down and seen that the baby was still alive and helped me and let me stay there, he was like, they would not have had no choice but to give me my son at that custody hearing in December. And God said that's how she stole my child. He said she knew that Andrea was taking care of that baby in that apartment, and she was a great mom. So she basically over here helping to steal your baby by putting you out on the street knowing you need help right before that custody hearing, and allowed that white woman to get your baby. They done abducted your child, and the Lord have been the only one standing up for me, and they know how much I love my baby, and I've been screaming in distress and crying all in that jail from them beating on me and my child. And I'm sorry, because they got the African American women running up to me calling me crazy. Oh, bitch, you crazy, and trying to fight me and my baby. I'm trying not to be emotional because people don't take you serious when you cry. Not these wicked people. So my sister, I asked her, I said, why would you put me out of your home right before the custody hearing to get my son? Because I told y'all I won the hearings. I just needed a place to stay, and they still staging for me to be outside. And they threatened to rape my baby with the KKK as retaliation because I shot his white father in the leg. So now they trying to make it seem like my baby daddy is black and that I don't have a mulatto child. They trying to make it seem like I'm not pregnant by a white man, that I haven't been tortured. Like they done made me sleep with these black men to try to make it seem like I'm so small and I'm pregnant by a black man. But let me just go back to my sister. So I asked her, why would you put me out of your home right before the custody hearing to get my son? And she snapped at me and said, oh, I didn't know you was gonna get your son back. And I'm like, how would I not get my son back? He was abusing me and my son, his father. So why should I not get my baby back? Why would you open up your mouth and say, oh, I didn't